Hey guys, S.O.V here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the Toy Biz Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance, Zarathos, the big bad himself, and the final figure from Series 2 of this Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance line, brought to us by the fine folks over at Toy Biz, that we will be taking a look at for the Halloween Spooktacular, a bit of a finale, if you will. But before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let's first take a look-see at his accessories. 2 fireballs. They glow in the dark, mind you, but 2 fireballs. 2 missile fireballs, in fact. And let's just get this out of the way, because this gimmick is borderline lame. Although you do have much more control here. Slide it down his arm like so. There's a hole in the back of the cape that allows you to pull back on this, and yeah, doesn't really fire. There you go. Not all that impressive. And I'm not gonna lie, as we take a closer look at Mr. Zarathos here, this figure is a bit of a letdown, especially if you get this guy carded and you see what he could have looked like on the back of the box. This is a completely different figure from what is shown on the back of the box. The one on the back of the box has elbow joints, rotating hands, a completely different head sculpt with only like 2 horns, and if I'm not mistaken, Zarathos doesn't have any horns in the comics. It's just a flaming blue skull, and this guy kind of looks like a court jester, if anything, that's on fire. So yeah, much better figure was shown, but unfortunately this is what we got, and for what it is, it's alright, but compared to what it could have been, take that for what you will. That said, as far as articulation on this guy goes, his head does rotate side to side. You can even rotate the little flames independently of his head if you want. His cape sits kind of funny. I mean, people give Hasbro crap for this now, but it didn't always used to sit flush. That said, I do think the prototype of this guy, the cape, did not have these gaps on the back. I would have liked if this cape was just pegged in the front too, just to, you know, stay down like that and have like 1 peg on the back instead of 2 little ones. I don't know, I'm just thinking outside the box here. It would have been a little bit more, I don't know, less cumbersome if that was the case, but it is what it is. It's better than no Zarathos figure, I suppose. That said, his arms do rotate up and down. They're just hollow kind of tubes. I would have at least liked those arms. The head I could probably live with, but the arms on the other one was so much better. I can only imagine he had a gimmick like the Green Goblin where he actually threw his fireballs like a ball or a pumpkin bomb or whatever. I don't know, I'm very curious because I do believe that figure was used in the commercials as well. He does have T-jointed hips that kick forward and back, as well as a hinge in the knee. I do believe the legs are the same as the other figure. The torso might even be the same. It's just the head and the arms are different. And believe it or not, that's where this figure kind of falls flat for me. I like the head sculpt, but I like the prototype a little better. And, you know, for the most part, the sculpt isn't bad. It's just that prototype is so much better, and typically, you know, Playmates and McFarlane were notorious for showing prototypes on the back of the card and not like the actual figure sometimes. Toy Biz very seldomly did this, because if you look at the rest of the figures on the back of the card for this wave, the Dandy Catch is pretty much the same, the Outcast is pretty much the same, the classic Johnny Blaze is pretty much the same, and even the armored Johnny Blaze is for the most part the same, maybe a little color difference, but the Zarathos is like a completely different figure, so I wonder why we didn't get that version. Maybe there's some kind of safety issue, I don't know, but maybe it's too scary looking, I don't know. All I know is that's why Skeleton Warriors didn't last very long, is because a lot of people thought they were scary looking, which you know, I guess it makes sense. They're skeleton warriors, but at the end of the day, I just say people need to grow up here so we can get cool looking stuff. That said, this figure is alright, kind of ending on a low note instead of a high note. I think the Armored Johnny Blaze would have been a much better figure to end this out on, or the Outcast, because those are, I think, the best figures in this wave, but it is what it is, man. We got a Zarathos figure from Toy Biz after they had only had the Marvel license for what? 3-4 years? And Hasbro's had it for almost 20, and they can't even give us Mephisto, let alone this guy. So, you know, as I always say, it is what it is. So with that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Zarathos alongside a couple other figures from the Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance line. Of course, we have Mr. Dan Ketch himself, as well as Outcast, the only other villain released in this series. I say that because Series 1 had 3, arguably, if you count Vengeance, but it also had Skinner and Blackout, who are, I guess, brothers of Outcast, since Outcast is a Lilin, and so are Skinner and Blackout. And considering the fact that they are all children of Lilith, I guess that does make them brothers. That said, it should be worth noting that good old Zarathos here is also Lilith's main squeeze. That's right, it took the combined force of the Spirits of Vengeance and I believe the Midnight Suns to take out both Zarathos and Lilith at the time. And unfortunately, good old Danny Ketch here did not survive that battle. Him and Zarathos both bit the dust, leaving Vengeance to take up the mantle as the Ghost Rider. So a little bit of comic knowledge for you guys there as we wrap up our looks at this Toy Biz Spirits of Vengeance line. Let me know if you guys want me to do some Series 1 reviews, because I do have most of that wave. I do need to pick up the Johnny Blaze with the trench coat, but I'm willing to do it if you guys want to see it. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus, Living Spawn, who as usual towers over everyone. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and while I may have been a little bit harsh on poor Zarathos here, don't get it twisted, I still have a soft spot in my heart for this figure, considering the fact that not only is it the only figure of the character that we've ever gotten from Toy Biz, Hasbro, or anyone who's had the Marvel license since there's been Marvel action figures, but it's also the very first figure I ever got from this Toy Biz Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance line, way back during my early trips to a local comic shop down in the Saratoga Springs area, known as the Comic Depot. It was ran by a really cool guy named Darren, and this is a figure I picked up on one of my earliest visits to that store. So rest in peace, not only to the Comic Depot, but also to my good buddy Darren, who passed away from cancer not long before the pandemic. So with that being said, I hate to end it on a somber note, but if you want a Zarathos figure, this is literally your only option. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays. If you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. Stay tuned because we will be getting back to Wildcat, Spawn, and all kinds of other good stuff for Throwback Thursdays. Figured I would give good old Ghost Rider a proper 50th anniversary celebration, unlike some people. But with that being said, if you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil. The world sucks enough as it is, especially when, well, this was kind of a bummer review, wasn't it? Sorry about that. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. And before I let you guys go here, let's first take a look-see at Zarathos' glow-in-the-dark features. Starting off with the missile coming out of his hand there. As you can see, also on his lower arms, he's got some flames that glow as well. And of course, the flames around his head and his teeth glow in the dark as well. Must have a good dentist. That said, I would have liked to have seen some glow-in-the-dark eyes, not just from Zarathos here, but maybe from all the villain characters. I don't know, I think that would have been a really cool glow-in-the-dark feature to have, and unfortunately, none of the figures in this Ghost Rider series seem to have it. But at any rate, with that being said, till next time, I'll catch you guys later.